In this podcast episode, Dr. Nicole McNichols explores the profound impact of sexual activity on various aspects of health, relationship satisfaction, and mental well being. Drawing from her extensive background as a sex researcher and educator, she discusses how prioritizing sex and intimacy is connected to physical health markers such as cardiovascular function and immunity, cognitive preservation, sleep quality, and emotional resilience. The conversation delves into common myths about sex, practical strategies to enhance sexual satisfaction, and the complexities of sexual desire within long-term relationships. Dr. McNichols highlights scientific findings that link sexual activity, particularly orgasms, to better cardiovascular health and longer life expectancy. She notes erectile dysfunction as an early warning sign of cardiovascular issues and underscores the reciprocal relationship between sexual health and overall physical wellness. Prioritizing self-care, including managing stress, getting adequate sleep, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle, is foundational for sustaining sexual function. Sexual connection itself acts as a positive feedback loop that supports metabolic health and vitality. The episode emphasizes that sexual satisfaction strongly predicts overall relationship satisfaction, and conversely, sexual dissatisfaction often precedes relationship decline. Importantly, satisfying sex does not merely arise from a good relationship. Rather, cultivating sexual intimacy actively improves relational bonds. Fostering pleasure and connection through intentional communication and shared experiences enriches partnership dynamics. Dr. McNichols stresses that sexual intimacy should be deliberately prioritized rather than treated as a spontaneous luxury. Central themes throughout the discussion are the importance of prioritizing sexual intimacy and maintaining emotional and physical connection with one's partner. These priorities are often deprioritized amid the stresses and multitasking demands of modern life, which can create cascading negative effects on health and relationships. Creating dedicated time and mental space for intimacy, sometimes by planning moments of connection during less traditional times, can rejuvenate desire and improve satisfaction. Sexual fulfillment contributes significantly to personal identity, self-confidence, and mental health. Dr. McNichols connects the importance of sexual pleasure to combating the widespread loneliness and mental health challenges experienced today. She points out that especially for women, societal shame and lack of education have historically suppressed sexual expression and entitlement to pleasure. Reclaiming this aspect of self-care improves psychological well-being and enhances one's capacity to show up authentically in all domains of life. The conversation addresses biological differences between men and women and their effects on sexual behavior and socialization. Women are often more socially conditioned to suppress their sexual desires, resulting in greater challenges around openness and communication. Novelty is particularly important for women's sustained sexual satisfaction, which sometimes runs counter to cultural expectations emphasizing female modesty and caretaking roles. Understanding these gendered factors is crucial for fostering equitable and satisfying sexual relationships. Dr. McNichols underscores the bidirectional relationship between sexual activity and sleep quality. Orgasms improve sleep, and adequate rest enhances sexual responsiveness and pleasure. This virtuous cycle supports mental health, stress management, and overall vitality, further illustrating how sexual wellness is integrated with broader health outcomes. Engaging in regular sexual activity is also associated with stronger immune function, reduced frequency of colds and flu, and generally lower incidences of long-term illnesses. Sexual wellness, therefore, serves not only emotional and relational roles, but also substantiates critical physical health benefits spanning multiple body systems. Several pervasive myths are challenged, such as the ideas that good sex should always be spontaneous and that desire must precede sexual activity. Dr. McNichols clarifies that initiating intimacy, even when one is not immediately in the mood, can spark arousal and lead to satisfying sexual experiences. Another myth addressed is that loss of sexual desire signals loss of love or attraction. The reality is far more nuanced, involving complex interactions among physical health, relationship dynamics, and personal well-being. Introducing new elements into the sexual relationship, whether through changing timing, activities, or environments, fosters sustained desire and prevents boredom, particularly important for long-term couples. Simple adjustments, like trying a date morning instead of an evening or experimenting with different forms of touch, can revitalize intimacy. Dr. McNichols advocates for micro-novelties as accessible and effective strategies toward better sex. Creating an erotic space involves both cultivating individual bodily awareness and mental presence during sexual activity. Overcoming self-judgment, body image concerns, and distracting thoughts enables sexual mindfulness, the capacity to fully experience sensations and connection in the moment, leading to greater pleasure and orgasmic potential. Planning intimacy to minimize external stressors and interruptions further enhances this space. Open and ongoing communication before, during, and after sex is essential. Dr. McNichols encourages verbal and nonverbal feedback as tools for partners to guide one another toward greater pleasure. Discussing fantasies, desires, and boundaries in non-threatening ways deepens trust and satisfaction. Post-coital conversations also build anticipation for future encounters by reinforcing positive aspects of the experience. The discussion touches on the well-documented orgasm gap, where women report orgasms less frequently than men during partnered sex. This gap is largely attributed to cultural emphasis on penetrative sex, despite most women requiring clitoral stimulation to achieve orgasm. Masturbation and self-exploration are recommended for women to better understand their bodies and communicate their needs, which often leads to improved partnered sexual pleasure. Dr. McNichols is a sex researcher, professor, and educator at the University of Washington, where she teaches one of the largest courses in the university's history. With a PhD in psychology, her work is grounded in rigorous scientific research. She combines evidence-based knowledge with practical guidance for individuals and couples to foster healthful, fulfilling sexual relationships. She is committed to dispelling myths and normalizing diverse sexual experiences, while supporting people in long-term monogamous relationships, as well as other relational structures. The episode explores how cultural expectations and gender roles influence attitudes towards sex and pleasure. Women often face stigma discussing their desires both publicly and within relationships. The conversation stresses the importance of reframing sexual pleasure as a form of self-care rather than selfishness. It also addresses how the sex positivity movement includes a variety of expressions, but should not impose narrow standards that invalidate more vanilla or traditional sexual experiences. Desire discrepancy, the difference between partners' interest or libido, is acknowledged as a universal challenge. Creative problem solving, compromise, and empathy can bridge mismatches, whether in timing preferences or sexual activities sought. Maintaining a growth mindset, open communication, and mutual respect can sustain intimacy even when preferences differ. Sexual intimacy is framed as an important shared responsibility in committed relationships. Opting out without mutual agreement can threaten the foundation of a partnership. Dr. McNichols points out that declines in sexual activity often signal deeper relational or health issues that warrant open discussion, and if unresolved, may require difficult decisions. Prioritizing sex alongside other commitments shows care for both oneself and one's partner. Failing to prioritize sexual health and pleasure can lead to self-alienation, disconnection from one's body, and diminished overall happiness. Neglecting this essential aspect of well-being may result in feelings of abandonment and isolation. Attention to sexual wellness should be viewed as vital for holistic health, with resources, education, and openness helping individuals and couples to recover and grow.